Our Bitcoin has yet again hit a new high, crossing $97,000 in early Thursday trading as at 6:33 a.m. GMT. Now, the latest jump in the price comes after reports from President-elect Donald Trump's team suggesting that he considers creating a new White House position solely dedicated to crypto policy. Amid persistent worries that he may have made money by deceiving fans, Logan Paul, the widely popular social media celebrity, is being questioned again about his Bitcoin transactions. According to further information obtained by the BBC, he advertised investments without disclosing his financial stake in them. It seems that Paul's influence, his YouTube channel, which has over 23 million subscribers, caused these assets' prices to soar, raising the possibility that he may have made money from the sale of many tokens that he owned. Additionally, Paul is also facing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit related to CryptoZoo, a failed cryptocurrency enterprise. He denies any misconduct. Now, for more on the story, let's cross over to London, where we are joined by Chris Maurice, who is co-founder and CEO at Yellow Card. Good morning to you, Chris. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, then. Well, let's begin with Bitcoin crossing to $94,000 and then hitting another high past $97,000, I beg your pardon. What's your assessment of the key drivers in this price rise?
Look, I think the overall sentiment around Bitcoin and around the space has just changed drastically over the last several weeks. And, I think especially in the United States where for the last several years, you've had the SEC take numerous enforcement actions against companies in the industry. And now you have, Trump obviously winning the election and going to be coming back into office and promising a very pro crypto and Bitcoin friendly government, right? He's made statements about how he wants all Bitcoin to be made in the United States and how he plans on replacing the SEC commissioner on his first day in office. And so, I don't think it's any surprise that, when you have high-ranking politicians saying positive things about the space that you're going to see massive increases in the price over a short period of time.
Yeah, certainly no surprises there. But for those who have been curious about this, what does a crypto-friendly policy out of the United States look like?
Yeah, so a lot of it comes down to the enforcement, the way that some of these laws have been enforced, and then also changing some of the policies around the industry, right? So if you look back at the last few years, the SEC in the U.S. has a history of going after various different companies in the space, right? They've gone after Coinbase, they've gone after Robinhood, they've gone after a number of big names in the space. And I think obviously the promise of replacing the SEC chairman will presumably put a hold on a lot of these investigations that are going on. I think the other big one, which certainly has an impact on the price, is a niche accounting rule that's known as SAB 121, and basically what that says is that if a bank wants to hold Bitcoin on its books, that it needs to classify that as a liability, which makes it very difficult for banks with capitalization requirements to be able to hold Bitcoin, especially in any large amount. And so again, with the promise that could be overturned, you all of a sudden start to see a world where major U.S. banks are really diving into the space, right? They're able to hold Bitcoin, they're able to hold other assets for customers, and potentially able to dive right in on exchange.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Chris, surely the upsides are important, as we all know. But for your company, how do you benefit from the rise in Bitcoin's price?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, from my company's standpoint with Yellow Card, we're mostly focused on stable coins, right? So U.S. dollar backed tokens that are trading at 1-to-1, and will continue to trade at 1-to-1. That being said, a rising tide lifts all ships, right? So Bitcoin is almost at 100K. Everybody's excited. People, banks, et cetera, that have never really looked at the industry before are really starting to take notice. And it's sort of all coming together at once, right? You have, a very pro crypto administration coming into power in the United States. You have, Stripe recently acquired a company in the space for $1.1 billion, and sort of everything is going on at once. where now you have all of these companies that before were not interested in blockchain, they were not interested in Bitcoin and crypto, and now they're starting to take notice, right? They're realizing that if they don't jump on board, they're going to be too late.
Right, absolutely. But what about the use case for Bitcoin itself? Isn't the future projected for it to enable making everyday purchases and an ease of use even?
Yeah, I don't necessarily see a future where Bitcoin is replacing local currencies or fiat currency in terms of everyday spend, right? I think that Bitcoin by every available metric is much better suited as a store of value, more akin to gold. And I think that that's in practice what Bitcoin is being used for when you look at broadly around the world, right? Is more of that store of value. I think that when it comes to day-to-day transactions and being able to walk into a coffee shop and pay for your latte, right? It's going to be more around stable coins. And I think that U.S. dollar stablecoins are already in practice changing the way that international payments work. It's largely replacing a lot of what SWIFT used to do, and yeah, it obviously still does. And it makes it significantly more efficient, right? You can move money around the world anywhere you need in seconds for essentially free. And so I think stable coins are much more suited for sort of a payments use case, whereas Bitcoin in practice is being utilized more as a store of value.
Right, and we all know that efficiency really is key in this regard. But let's switch gears a bit. And what do you make of the BBC report yesterday around YouTube personality Logan Paul, who, of course, as we know, is facing fresh allegations over his cryptocurrency dealings amid ongoing concerns that he may have profited from misleading fans? And as we know, there is also a lawsuit that he's facing over a failed crypto project called CryptoZoo. What do we make of this?
Yeah, look, unfortunately, certain celebrities have sort of a history of, not disclosing their involvement in some of these projects in the space, right? I mean, Kim Kardashian, famously had the issue with the SEC over a project that she was involved in and didn't properly disclose. I think the big thing that I would say is that a lot of this stuff is really just noise, right? If you want to invest in anything, whether it's a currency that's being promoted by a celebrity, or any stock or Bitcoin or any asset for that matter, you need to do thorough research before you're getting involved, right? Look, celebrities are great, but they're not always financial gurus, right? So, it's not necessarily a good idea to just take somebody's advice because they're famous and dive into an investment on the basis of that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in light of this, we do know that, of course, that's very good advice, but some individuals will still try to do their due diligence and then still fall prey. So in what ways, if we had to be a little more granular, would you, assess a project being promoted by a celebrity?
Yeah. Look, I think in general, if a celebrity is promoting a project in the crypto space, it might be a red flag, right? There's just been, a large history of, issues like this happening, unfortunately. And, I think the big thing that I would say is that all of this is really just noise, right? I think that people hear about like meme coins and Dogecoin and all these coins that are, doing all of this. The reality is that, the core of the space is in the top market cap currencies, right? It's in Bitcoin, it's in Ethereum, it's in USDT, USDC, it's in these stable, well-backed, non-celebrity promoted currencies. And I think in general, right, it's there's a lot of noise when you get away from sort of the top coins in terms of market cap. And so, yeah, I don't know. I usually tell people stick to what you know, stick to what you understand, stick to what there's a lot of information out there about. for things like, again, Bitcoin, USDT, USDC. There's a lot of information out there about this. You can, read all about it. You can see audits on Tether and Circle. But for, some of these other currencies that pop up out of nowhere and are being, endorsed by, big name celebrities, not a lot of information out there. And so you need to be careful.
All right, stick to what you know. Very important message there. Chris, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Global Business Report. We'll see you again very soon.